Hello guys. Yeah, so I'm Nurkan from Ticketswap. I'm super excited to be here and share my knowledge, what we've done so far with Ticketswap in terms of the data-driven growth and analytics. It's going to be a bit different than previous presentations. I hope you can enjoy while you're listening. So, I do believe that most of you guys know Ticketswap, right?
Yeah.
Great. So maybe I shouldn't talk about that. But so we are a transparent marketplace for buying and selling e-tickets for all events. The company actually founded in 2012 by 3 Dutch founders. So the idea was to make the second-hand ticket market safe, fair, and more convenient for everyone. So right now we are more than 70 employees, all located at the headquarters on Nurkan, plus 1 in Australia. And also 3.5 million fans, users, and still we are growing. More than 80 partnerships with ticket companies, event organizers, and venues. So far, we've been doing great, but there is still room to improve, of course. So what about me? I had a pleasure to work with amazing companies and organizations so far. So, and I joined the company a year ago. But previously, actually, like all my background, mostly related with the growth and analytics stuff. So I started my career at Galatasaray, one of the biggest sports clubs in Turkey, and I ended up in Amsterdam after my own company that I found in San Francisco as a co-founder, and we got investment from 500 startups in YC. So it was a great experience, and that's most likely like I learned almost 50% of my experience while I was building my own company. Honestly, I'm an engineer, and I'm not good with the like presentation stuff mostly, but we will figure it out. So
You're doing great.
thank you very much. So, growth for Ticketswap. Before I jump to this subject, I need to give you a little summary. How was it before and how it is look like nowadays. So we had a growth mission last year around this time, which we were super reliant on Facebook API. But I do believe that most of you guys know this Facebook Cambridge Analytica stuff. So they closed their Facebook API, and our growth mission basically collapsed. So we had to build something from scratch, and we had to basically reinvent the wheel from scratch. So that was my also second day. I joined the company and second day. I faced with this problem, which it was all right, because I've seen worse. And we start to build, we started thinking about like, what are we gonna do? What could be the next? So, as a usual company, Ticketswap has also started their journey with the setup with the Google Analytics, you know, like beginning of the story. Because there was no any clue that what to do with the data. What are we gonna do? Let's set up Google Analytics. We can figure out along the way. It has started like this, and the phase 2. Actually, this is phase 2 when I joined the company. But before we guys have thought that they can build something internally in terms of the business intelligence and everything. But we had like really small infrastructure at that time, so we were not able to understand the whole journey, whole customer journey, and as well as the users, because we need to get know users in order to do some cool stuff around that, right? Because what we are calling growth, most likely to understand people and predict their actions and help them to have better user experience. So, but in order to get more data, we need more data sources. Why more data sources? The answer is simple, as much as like the question, because we need like different angles in order to understand customer journeys. The company grow, we are growing, company is growing, and we are starting to ask different questions to ourselves. We have to ask different questions to ourselves. We have to understand what's happening around the platform. We have to get to know our users to give them better experience, right? So, actually, we are able to process 100 million data points per month. So what does it mean, data points? Logins, registrations, transactions, push notifications, basically everything that we are touching to users. It is huge. It's a huge amount of data, which when I joined the company, it wasn't like this. And it took around like 1 year to build proper infrastructure to analyze data properly. So actually, this is the first time that I'm sharing this diagram out of the office. because this is my baby. That's how I call it. Right now, we've been collecting data from 14 different sources, which it includes our marketing stack. It includes our mobile apps, front end, back end, email marketing, as well as NPS in order to understand what's going around the different markets. And we aggregate that data into the one platform and distribute it from that platform to the different sources, which sources Google Analytics, GTM, Mixpanel, Facebook Pixel, Branch for mobile attribution to identify the users. How are we doing on the mobile advertisement? Firebase, etc., etc., etc. I can talk about it probably 7 days, 24 hours non-stop, but it took for me around like 365 days to build this stack. So, what about the position of growth team? So far, we talk about like our stack. I gave you like summary regarding how come we so far, and as well as the position of growth team is super important in the company because we are super centralized at the Ticketswap. So we are only 3 people actually, which we are processing 100 million data, but we are only 3 people. But we are super centralized. So we've been feeding our data team, our product team with the different departments almost every day. We have like every day different kind of meetings with the product teams, with the data teams, in order to understand what can we do better and also identify the users, how can we give them better experiences. So what about how growth shapes in Ticketswap nowadays? So it used to be, because we had a Facebook and everything was automated, it was like, let's improve onboarding and do some tweaks around it. All right, cool, no objection. But now, before we do any kind of action, we always visit our data, and we've been always putting some efforts before to do anything. We analyze everything. We analyze all users. We are trying to understand what can we do better for them. So, for instance, lately we've been always asking these questions to ourselves: if we increase on conversion rate of onboarding around 5%, what could be the business value? How can we grow more, and how can we get more money from the users? Speaking of onboarding, I'd like to share a case study about our current onboarding flow for web. Onboarding basically for like registration, signups, and everything. So I'm pretty sure, I'm not sure you guys know Madman, but I'm super big fan of Madman. I'm super big fan of Don Draper. And he's been always using some inspirational quotes during the show. So this is my favorite quote actually. Make it simple, but significant. So our previous flow actually wasn't that simple. It was super complex, it wasn't user-centric, and I hate this diagram. It's not my baby. But after a while, of course, after a while, we start to collect data, we start to identify all issues, and I had enough justification to show the developers that, guys, we have to change it. Like, it's not going to work like this. We were not able to understand what kind of errors the users are getting. So this kind of problems, like, always bad for the first-time user experience. And also we are a marketplace. So we have like buyers and sellers, and all type of users are super important for us. But currently, it is super simple. It is simple and significant, as Don Draper said. So it is awesome, and this is the greatest thing we have ever done, because as you know, the marketing funnel starts from acquisition. So we've been sending some traffic to our landing pages, but the conversion rate wasn't that good. So speaking of conversion rate, I'd like to give you some updates regarding the previous period and current situation. So previously our duration was around like 25 seconds, and for onboarding it's huge because we were getting like too many unnecessary informations which we could either predict or we could be able to get later on. So, and our average conversion rate was around like 84%. So after our improvements, we decreased the average duration like 15 seconds, and now it's 10 seconds. So in 10 seconds, actually, you're able to register the Ticketswap. And our average conversion rate has increased to 95%. So out of 100 people, 94, 95 of them actually are able to complete the funnel perfectly, smooth and simple and fast. So what about overall impact? Okay, so we've done like a bunch of things. I've been talking about numbers all the time. But what about overall impact? If we compare the first 2 weeks of January versus first 2 weeks of February, we've seen plus approximately 84% more new users compared the previous period. It is huge, and I have to admit that like even I wasn't expecting that much. Okay, but we've been always asking some. There is always a but, right? About every time in the life. We never think in the company it is enough because like we need to improve more, we need to learn more, and luckily I've been working with amazing people, especially our data team is awesome. So their help is priceless to our purposes, what are we trying to achieve and what are we trying to do. We know many things about the users because I explained the whole stack and everything to you guys, but what could be the most interesting information about those users that we've been acquiring? We are able to predict the new user LTV and as well as their revenue, their contribution to revenue. This is sick improvement because we are able to basically plan and set up all our acquisition strategy based on our prediction, and the model has 90% accuracy, and we've been using it since beginning of the year. So this is like output of the prediction. Unfortunately, I cannot give the like exact information how much revenue are we gonna get, unfortunately. But all these dots are actually have different kind of meanings. New users, tickets sold, what are we gonna get out of those users? We are able to split this prediction per channel, per country, per city, per device, whatever you want to do. So we are super flexible to predict anything about the users right now. But what else can we do with the huge data sets? So let me give you some examples. We are able to understand which event is going to be sold out beforehand, which it also helps us to create sort of acquisition campaigns or marketing campaigns. It's priceless. Gender detection based on the first name. So we have like 3.5 million users, and we are able to understand their gender based on their first name, because we have probabilities around the names, and we know that Pascal is a male or female, because we have like that's a good one. Inventory cleaning. So especially in a marketplace, inventory is super important because there are always like some fight between demand and supply, and you should always bring supply before the demand. Finding demand is super easy, but the hardest part is to find supply. So because we need to basically clear our inventory in order to grow more, in order to bring more, in order to bring more revenue. So inventory is super important, especially for the first-time users. If you sign up as Ticketswap today, and if you decide to sell your ticket, you should sell your ticket without any problem. So we use our all valuable data as well as for inventory cleaning strategy as well. I mentioned about LTV revenue prediction, and of course we've been using our data and that stack that I showed you for behavior analysis, optimization, conversion optimization, almost for every single piece of the product that we have right now. But I have to admit that data is not the sexy part of this story. So the most important part for us, the most users that they are able to get into any show, we are also able to grow more. So we really care about our fans, and we really care about our users at the company more than data. So I'd like to thank you for your So if you have any questions,